So now we're going to move to the panel. I'm assuming for the panel discussions. I need to welcome Mr. Syed Abdul Qadir as the moderator. Is he there? Can I see you? Mr. Syed Abdul Qadir, I cannot see you. Let me introduce.
Yes, I am here.
You're there?
Yes, yes.
Thanks for being here. I think I will. Can you, Ghulam, can you resend me Mr. Qadir's bio? Today, Mr. Khader will be basically moderating an amazing panel to cover the strategies and tactics for digital governance. And since, sorry, I wanted to introduce you also, but I think I missed out on the actual biography. Maybe Mr. Ghulam can introduce you, Mr. Syed, since he has, Ghulam, are you there? Yes. And I would just let me welcome the panelists. Mr. Muhammad Ahmad, happy birthday. Fauzia, Sohail. Okay, can we have an image, or you just want to be without an image? Okay. How are you doing today?
How are you?
I'm good. And yourself? Mr. HUSSEIN, he's there. How are you, Mr. Hussein? All is well? Mr. Faisal Saeed, yes. And hello. And Mr. Ali Mahmoud. Can we see Mr. Ali Mahmoud? No, he's not there.
Hi there.
Is that yours? Is this the one, Dr. Shihab?
Sahibzada Ali Mahmoud. It's a bit difficult to pronounce.
Okay, no worries. Okay, then I'll call you Ali. So, Mr. Ghulam, you can introduce Mr. Syed so he can take on the panel to talk about strategies and tactics of digital governance.
Okay, thank you, Zina. Mr. Abdul Qadir is an executive director at A.F. Ferguson Company, and he is a seasoned professional with over 18 years of experience, but yet he looks very young, but he has 18 years of experience in IT strategy, governance, digital transformation, operations, project management, cybersecurity risk, IT due diligence, BCP, and DRP across multiple industries. His collaborative leadership is evidenced through speaking invitations to various digital and cybersecurity conferences and workshops, and has been interviewed by the multiple TV channels and a variety of technology blogs and publications. And let me tell you, he's very helpful, always very supportive. So whenever I call him, I request him, sir, I need your help. And then I don't need to say or follow up for anything. And he arranges everything, mashallah. Very supportive, very helpful person. So over to you, Syed Abdul Qadir. Floor is yours. And before we start today's proceeding, just give me 1 minute. I want to run a happy birthday song. Can you guys listen my screen? Background music. My background music is, can you hear? Is it audible, my background music?
So, Ghulam, you want to sing a song with you also? We go back to.
आवाज आ रही थी?
Yes, yes, we can hear.
We can't hear anything.
See, bas, yeah, this is digital. Happy birthday, you know.
Okay.
Muhammad Ahmad, now you are 18 years old, or how much year old, you know?
Yes, 17 years old, probably.
MashaAllah. I think your mind is still 17 years old, so over to the other.
Let's start.
I have an issue. I'm not able to start the video because it says that you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it. So maybe it's something from your end.
Okay, so can you now try? Because I didn't stop.
We can see you, Saeed.
Okay, so I am asking you to start the video.
Okay, it's working now. Thank you.
Perfect. Perfect.
That's good. So thank you very much, Ghulam Mustafa bhai, for the much exaggerated intro. And obviously, I am grateful to the HR legends and especially Ghulam Mustafa Bhai for arranging a fabulous 2-day virtual event and give me the privilege to moderate a panel of such a level of eminent speakers. So, first of all, I would like to introduce my very dear friend, HUSSEIN Bhai, who is actually president of the ISACA Karachi chapter and also one of the founding members of ISACA Karachi. Even as a corporate job, he is also GM and head of IT audit at Habib Bank Limited. Previously, as an experienced person, he has served big organizations like Bank Al Habib, E&Y, Aga Khan Group, and across multiple dimensional areas. He worked such as technology governance, risk advisory, digital, IT audits, and so on and so forth. My other fellow panelist is Fauzia Sohail, who has 20 plus years of in-depth experience of heading technology concern, which is related to from the software development, data warehousing, core banking, supply chain, distribution management, e-commerce, strategy, digital innovation, and management. She served as CIO of First Women Bank Limited and Convo Limited. My very dear friend, Dr. Ali Mahmood, is working for the provincial government of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa to develop, transform, and make the industrial sector competitive. He has more than 16 years of experience and made several important policy interventions. Believe me, KP is way ahead of other provincial government because he has developed digital policy, industrial policy, and a digital strategy for the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Mohammed Ahmad, also very visionary, a seasoned IT professional having experience in IT strategy planning, digital transformation, IT operations, information security, governance, risk, and compliance. He is currently serving in Finca Microfinance as head of information security. And last but not least, Mr. Faisal Bhai, Faisal Saeed. Actually, he has also more than 20 years experience in the cyber security domain and information security. Her main profile is not with me, so therefore I would like to go to my next option. Okay, so the topic is actually very complex. Ghulam Mustafa Bhai has like some special complexity has created for me, which is because the topic is strategies and tactics for the digital governance. And you know, every organization in this world wish to be in the root of the digital transformation, to be relevant and to stay relevant. But one of the key factors in this digital transformation is overall digital governance, which focuses on establishing accountability for the digital transformation, its strategy, policy, standards. So keeping that in mind, I would now request each fellow panelist to take 3 to 4 minutes in expressing your views regarding the evolution of this digital. So in terms of its governance, in terms of its value, in terms of its security, privacy, and especially what are the challenges being faced today, even amid COVID situation by the organization globally. And bit of this context in mind, can you please also advise what has changed in the digital journey of organization of Pakistan since last 3 to 4 years? So I would request Mr. Hussein Haji Bhai to start, and then Fauzia will go ahead for that. Thank you. Hello, Hussein Bhai. Okay, so if Hussein Bhai is not here, so Fauzia
Sorry,
can
I'm
start.
here. Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry. Sorry. Your voice had just cut out a bit.
Okay.
Apologies.
So I have requested that Hussein Bhai will start. Our guru will start.
Could you just repeat the question again, if you don't mind?
So the major question which I was highlighted regarding the digital strategies, because of the everyone has to express your views regarding evolution of the digital strategy in terms of its value and in terms of its governance, security and privacy, and especially the challenges being faced today by the organizations globally amid the COVID situation, And bit of context in mind, change in the digital journey of organization in Pakistan since last 3 to 4 years. So overall context, first of all for global, and then bit of local.
Right. So, one thing is very, very clear that the direction of travel is towards digital. And by digital, we mean everything coming together. And so this the distinction between which device a customer is using disappears.
Sure.
Also, things are becoming real time. So we need to consider that context as well. And that is where, the accountability, the strategy, it becomes extremely important. Policy actually will be following very often what the government is setting up. But, there's only so much that we can rely on the governments to do. So globally, we see there are organizations sitting at different levels. Some are more mature in that regards to enable their strategy, their policy. And I'll come to Pakistan in a bit, but globally, you have the strategy coming in first. There's a specific decision, clear-cut decision to go in this direction, and then things happen. In some cases, we see that rule of IT aligning with the. Are you able to see my video? I just saw your comment about the video not appearing.
No.
Yes, we can see your video. We can see your video.
Okay. I maybe I have a no issue.
So, that part about IT strategy aligning with business strategy, that part has to be very, very well embedded in globally. That happens, and that is what we have been driving as consultants and as advisors, as risk managers. We've been driving that globally. In Pakistan, unfortunately, we don't see that. We see IT branching out, doing a lot of stuff, and then coming back to business. That all right, this is happening or this is possible. You have different units going off in different directions, and that creates a problem, because if these things are not in sync, you mentioned about cybersecurity, that is a major challenge, because if the maturity level is different, if it doesn't cover the security part, you don't have application controls built into those applications, security controls, there is a very great likelihood of more compromises happening, more attacks being successful. And that is where, people will move away from this. So I'll just keep it short. I'll move to the latter part of your question, which is, what has changed in Pakistan? In Pakistan, we often follow what is happening outside. But here we have an advantage, because you have the majority of the population already using mobile phones, already getting to smartphones, and we don't need to go through that process of evolution. We can just leapfrog from having brick and mortar offices and organizations to the more digitally enabled. So business being happening on mobiles, and COVID has brought this thing right in, brought us to face to face with this. So the journey that would have taken around 2 to 3 years is now happening in a couple of weeks. In a matter of weeks, it has happened. I can go on talking about it, but I think I'll park that for now. I'm sure others will cover that as well.
Thanks, okay, great. Fauzia. So Fauzia can start and express your views.
Yeah. Can you hear me properly?
Yes.
Hello?
Please go ahead.
Okay. So basically what we, when we talk about digital transformation, we say that it is the outcome of the purpose of digital transformation is to serve your customer better, right? To acquire new customers. The end result, I'm saying, goal result for any digital transformation for any company is to acquire new customer and to retain the old customers with the help of the processes that are changing through digital transformation, right? So indirectly or directly, it will reflect the customer journey. So obviously, first of all, we have to be very clear that whatever we are planning, the strategy, just should be there on paper. There should be proper digital governance document should be in place that tells you the strategy, where to move forward. Because we have seen the companies who are just moving without thinking anything. Like they're just saying, okay, we have to go big. So they start without any planning, they start the journey of digital transformation. That is wrong, right? So you have to control them. So they have to tell themselves where to start, where's the pain point for other business, and start small, maybe 2 or 3 low-hanging fruit, and then you'll see how it goes. Because there's a lot of change management is going to happen through this journey. And even if you have a very smart app you have developed, until unless the people who are using it, they don't accept it, there's of no use. So change management is very, very important. So you have to tell your employees of each and every employee of your company, they should be well versed of what is happening in the company. There should be so much collaboration among all the teams, business teams. It's very important.
Sorry to interrupt, Fauzia. Can we make sure that we finish the panel session in 12 minutes exactly, so we can have some time for questions for another 5 minutes, so we can go to the second panel, okay? Apologies for interrupting.
Yeah, no, sure. Yeah. So obviously security is very important for us. Security and your data protection is very important, right? And then there's so many challenges that your technical challenges are there while implementing digital technologies, and there are operation challenges also there. And the past 3 to 4 years, what I've seen the change in the organizations is the e-commerce organizations taking e-commerce very seriously, right? And they are involving different startup companies to give innovative ideas to the business, right, to overcome the difficulty that they're having in their business processes, right? And this is there's a long way to go, because obviously there's in Pakistan, obviously we have the mobile phones, but the organization, they have to take their digital transformation more seriously. They are more involved with the core business right now, and they have to move forward slowly to make the smart processes to serve the customer better.
Perfect. So, Ahmad, can you please have some points regarding this point?
Yeah, sure. First of all, the evolution of the digital transformation, I would say it has been for last 30 years. When I would say in 2002, LinkedIn was there. We have a YouTube, we have a Skype is there. So the different services or the total transformation of the business processes is there. For example, we had a Netflix in 2007, then we have a cloud services. So evolution for Pakistan and for abroad for last 20 to 30 years is there. The more important factor that I would say, other than my colleague which has said, is about the security and privacy. So even though the people are neglecting it for somehow, but once that is being exploited by some different bad actors, then the whole stuff is gone. For example, we recently have, for example, one of the COVID application from government of Pakistan, but due to some security issue, I would say, or the privacy issue, I would say, it is all over the internet. It's all over the social media. So people are trying to avoid that particular application so that they wanted to avoid their particular location. So it is very important that we do consider the security and the privacy from the beginning. For challenge perspective in the digital transformation, I have few observations that we shouldn't we shouldn't do the scratch the surface methodology. We should go into deep area. For example, in digital transformation, the whole business model is going to be changed most of the time. It is not like that we are going only from manual to digitalization. So transformation is from the new processes, new standards, everything might be the new. So the second challenge would be for the business leader is the innovative mindset. So we have to think innovatively. So once we have that kind of stuff, that kind of mindset, then the digital transformation, it will be very easy. The third point I would say is the speed. To compete in the market, speed is very important. Digital is all about the speed. So you have an idea, you have to implement it, you have to go into market with your new product, with your new services, so that you can compete with your competitors. The other aspect which Fauzia has shared with us about the client experience, the customer experience. So all transformation that the companies are doing for the clients to get the value, monetary value. So client experience is very important. We have to think about the client experience when we are doing the digital transformation. Another part is the company processes. So whenever we are talking about the digital transformation, the company processes most of the time need to be refixed, need to be revisited, need to be transformed as well. And also the last but not the least, the business model. So business model may also going to be changed due to the digital transformation. So these are the different aspects, and I would say the digital challenges in the digital transformation. So whenever we are thinking about this one, we have to think about as well. For Pakistan, the digital initiative from the government is, I would say, is a very good initiative. Particularly in the banking sector, we have a very good initiative by the regulator. For example, the mobile wallet is there, mobile and internet banking is there. So these are all digital initiative, digital transformation from manual to the automation. And particularly during the COVID, everyone is saying don't visit the branches, don't visit the traditional banking platform, use the digital platform. So right now, not the CEO, not the CIO, not anyone else is forcing the digital transformation. It is the pandemic which is actually shifting our behavior towards the digital transformation. So over to you, Abdul.
Perfect. Okay, Dr. Saab, your views on it?
Okay, thank you. So actually, technology is changing rapidly and causing disruptions at an unprecedented pace. And as a result, we see that markets are disrupted and new markets are created with new monopolies in certain spaces. And mergers and acquisitions are happening at a rapid pace. So I'll give you a statistic. The average lifespan of a Fortune 500 company in 1955 was about 60 years. And today, the average age of a Fortune 500 company is 18 years. And that means that the lifespan of companies is shrinking. And that gives us an idea about how technology-led disruption has gained pace and how the competition grows more fiercer as the time goes by. And the main driver, like I said, is technology. So therefore, the adoption of digital technologies has become imperative for survival of businesses. And even though many have invested heavily in digitally transforming their organizations, not everyone has succeeded, and there are so many examples. So we need to understand that the digital transformation is like an end-to-end change management process. It's not only about technology, which is very important to understand. And the challenges are different when we talk about digital native organizations, which from the very outset are lean and inherently digital. But to keep with the competition, they have to continuously revisit and realign their strategy accordingly. And the case of digital migrant organizations, which is mostly the case here in Pakistan, it's different. And for large organizations which may start to resemble bureaucracies, the process of change management can be quite complex and daunting. However, there are examples. For example, when we look at the example of General Electric, which is a large enterprise, and it resembles the bureaucracy that we talk about in private large enterprises, they introduced an idea called FastWorks, which is based on the principles of a lean startup. So even though they are a large bureaucracy by any measure, they have introduced these frameworks like FastWorks, which enables them to work like a lean startup. And the challenges, they also vary based on what stage an organization is in terms of its digital journey and digital maturity. It may be at a starting stage, a developing stage, or a maturing stage. And one challenge that I would like to mention here is the pace of disruption. The competitive, some others are the competitive landscape, it changes accordingly, and companies have to rethink and realign their strategies and adapt at a much faster pace to remain in the game. So they have to strategize faster, they have to decide faster, and they have to innovate faster than their competitors. And faster but informed decision-making requires availability of pertinent data and how meaningful analytics are extracted from data. So data, collection of data and data analytics, that's also very important in today's world for informed decision making. So in Pakistan, the innovation value chain has a lot of missing links. And that is one reason why it scores quite low when we look at the Global Innovation Index. And innovation and disruption are strongly correlated. So you can see that we don't have a lot of new disruptive startups. There are a few startups, but we don't have a big number yet. So
Great insight. Great.
Yes. So
I think
when we
we have to forward to next question as well. And last but not least, Faisal Saab, your input on this, especially because you are working outside Pakistan, so you have a lot of experience regarding this.
Yeah, thank you, Khader bhai. Actually, you are right. I have been in the industry for like over 20 years right now, and I have worked with General Electric a lot. I have worked with Ford Motor Company, KPMG, in different categories, in the information officer, manager, advisors, consultant, and I have been leading one of the second largest insurance company, Blue Cross Blue Shield Michigan. I'm their enterprise security consultant. So the topic here is strategy and tactics for digital governance. One thing we need to understand very clearly, security is not going to change. The fundamentals remain the same. The fundamental is not going to change. We have to protect confidentiality, integrity, availability. They are the three pillars. They are going to stick to that one. Then we have to see which industry we are talking. Are we talking healthcare? Are we talking travel? Are we talking finance? And then we have to understand and build our profile according to the industry and assess the risk and develop a profile, or you can say framework, that will fit the requirement, that how we're going to protect all the information in rest mode, in transit mode, and when it is available. So fundamentals are still same. They will never change. We just have to understand how we're going to implement it and what are the requirements and what are the main challenges right now. Every other day, I'm a penetration tester. Every other day, believe me, new vulnerabilities keep on popping up. How we're going to cope with them. The only successful way, I know we don't have much time, but with all this experience, I can tell you, security needs to be embedded, integrated, implemented, and validated. It means this is something I have learned over the 20 years, how we can, and then we come to the governance. Governance sitting at the top. Governance is sitting at the top, and they are just managing all the risk and observing what's going on, what are different matrices, what are different systems. We have the big issues with the open source components. I mean, that is one of the area we have been missing continuously. We are depending on the open sources. My God, they have a lot of issues. We have new robust tools. As a Pakistan, means most of the time I'm in US, most of the time it's like sometime I'm in Pakistan. I'm stuck in Pakistan right now. We're pretty much behind because we are not that mature. We don't have that sense right now that what is the private information, what is the personal information, what is the health information. So I think even at the government level, a lot of initiative needs to be taken to develop them common standards. That means in Pakistan, I don't know, you know that our ID card, you can find it everywhere, but that is something very, very confidential, you know. So there are digital transformation has been expedited. It means we at the Blue Cross Blue Shield Michigan have started our largest application called Member Portal, which is used by millions of consumers. And we have started that digital experience 5 years ago. Means we understand that is the future, and the COVID just has accelerated it. It has endorsed that thing that you must start doing all digital work. There's no survival. So means I know we don't have much time. My message to everyone and to all the organizations who are in the digital transformation phase or process or in digital experience, please don't ignore security, because everyone says that's a later stage. We will take care of that one. Don't ignore security. Stick your security architects, engineers, sit with you right when you are designing everything, when you're putting the requirements together, put everything at that time together. Once you have really cooked it well, you can governance is very well. Your governance will be very, very easy. And you can manage your risk and you can see what is coming and how we have to diffuse it? Means, do we have to ignore it? Do we have to address it? Do we have to transfer it? Then we can do all the risk management technique and apply that one. I think I took already
Thank
3
you.
minutes. So yeah.
Then perfect. Obviously, very excellent crux and insights, Faisal bhai. And Hussein bhai, are you here? Hussein bhai, because
are we able to conclude? Who are you looking for, Mr. Syed?
Hussein Aju. Okay, so I would ask from Fauzia.
I'm here. Sorry.
Okay. So Hussein bhai, actually, okay, that's great. So Hussein bhai, based on the continuity of our discussion, obviously we have seen the historically many cyber attacks in the world which cost billions of dollars. For example, a Stuxnet, which hampered Iran's nuclear capability, the always confusing US elections rigging, the data breaches of Equifax, Sony, Uber, Kareem, Facebook, Yahoo, and even very relevant to your industry, which is Bangladesh Central Bank heist. So, वक्त करता है परवरिश बरसों, हादसा तो एकदम नहीं होता. So, based on this couplet, please advise Hussein bhai whether Pakistani organizations are creating information security awareness for their employees, customers, and other stakeholders in a very true sense. And also, do you think organizations have skilled and experienced workforce for digital governance and cybersecurity in Pakistan?
All right, so I'll thank you very much for this question. This is certainly relevant for our times. We are seeing at this point in time a number of exposures that are happening, but at the same time we are also seeing how these people are being caught and tracked. With COVID coming in, you've had an escalation in all of the attacks. You've had an escalation in those phishing attacks, smishing attacks, wishing attacks, where people are directly being targeted, and their naivety, their lack of information security awareness is being targeted. What has been happening is if you look at organizations as a whole, you've got some which are further ahead in this journey. And I would term the banking industry, because they have direct access to money. They are much further ahead in this game. When you look at other organizations, telcos are coming in, and much later in that queue are the health organizations and the other organizations. So it is a very disparate situation. It's spread out. But when we take that as the model, as the banking regulator has been very focused and has been pushing this, driving this, we need that model to come through everywhere. Where are we standing right now? Majority of the people do not have their awareness, but now they've already started using, like we said, the digital journey has been much faster. It has been accelerated because of COVID. Now people are already using their mobiles to access financial data, their data, banks, handle cash. All of that is happening. And therefore the need for more awareness, again, a certain responsibility does lie with the government. That has to happen. We look at organizations and the capacity. Capacity is definitely at a very challenging situation. Those who can command the market, the leading organizations, they manage to get the better people. But we have multiple challenges. You have had the West, which has been able to pull people out, has been able
apologies,
to afford
Mr. Hussein.
resources.
There's a lady's microphone on. Is it hijab? I think her microphone is on.
My apologies. I'll just check.
No worries.
Okay.
Apologies. Go ahead.
Can we please continue?
Yes. So we've had all of those studies. ISACA has done, ISC2 have done, where they are forecasting by next year a 4 million shortage of cybersecurity resources, and that is going to impact Pakistan. It's going to have these resources looking for those opportunities outside. Right now, there is a hold in that because of the industry globally, what has happened, and there's the stalling that is happening. but this will
That's
come
great.
through. And at some stage, we need to encourage our females to come on. So ISACA has the She Leads Tech
Yeah.
program, which is encouraging females to come into cybersecurity, into tech, and taking the leadership positions, because they are some of the people who have the capability but have not managed to get the front seat. And
Hussein, you have to pay us
very much
separately
needed.
That's right.
for branding ISACA
Ji.
like this.
Yeah.
Are we able to conclude the panel?
Yeah. No, 3 to 4 minutes we would require. So my next question to Fauzia.
Okay.
Fauzia, so we have discussed regarding strategies for the organizations, but we have seen many like 11 to 12 incidents in the world in the last 3 years, which happened due to the attack at the subsidiary or even at the vendor level. So the parent company suffered the major reputational loss due to the customer data breach, because we are implementing thousands of controls in data organizations, but we cannot implement the controls with the vendors, with our like subsidiaries. So please advise regarding that data protection and how do we measure the commitment to the protection.
And there is certain distortion, I think, from my end, or because I can't hear you properly. Can you hear me properly?
Okay. So
Yes, we can.
I would
We
rephrase.
can
You can.
hear you, Fauzia.
No, I understood the question.
We can hear
There's
you,
just a
Fauzia.
huge distortion. Yeah.
So please go.
Yeah, understand,
Please go
because
ahead.
because I have this experience of working in both the sides, the corporate level also and the vendor side also. And I've seen before this digital transformation is taking place, data is a main problem for any company, how to secure the data. We have seen the vendors, they have data in their pockets and they're going around, but not with digital transformation, because everything rolls on the data, because all the processes, they're coming up, digital transformation, digital technology. So data, we get lots and lots of data is coming from everywhere, from IoT devices, from your different smart processes, automation processes. So we have to very much make sure how we are going to secure the data in the organization, because now we are working in close collaboration. So the different departments of the company, they're also having the data lake. People are having the data lake in the organization. So in that case, we have to make sure that unnecessary data should not be present in the organization to one individual. And we have to keep on checking the inventory of the data. Is very important from the organization point of view. And from the vendor, obviously we have to be very, very, we have to have a strong controls to how vendors taking care of our data, because obviously we are taking SaaS, software as a service, right? And all the applications might be using from vendor side. So we are using the vendor cloud also we are using. So we have to make sure that how the vendors are taking care of the security, cyber securities, how the network is secure, right? And whatever they're doing inside the application, we have to make sure that that is also secure, right? So in that point of view, I must say that for vendor management is very important, because before we're not taking it that much seriously. Now with the digital transformation, is a must for a company to have a special framework, governance, risk compliance framework should be applicable to the vendors also. And we have to have proper penetration testing of their source codes also, and we have to have the proper framework that can have very, very tight control on the vendors, because currently we are just saying, okay, this we have just checklist all the compliance. That's not the case right now anymore. We have to go in the more deeper end of the vendor side. Okay, how are they managing their source code, how our source code is so vulnerable to all the other organization that they're serving, because we are not the only one organization they're serving. There are hundreds of other organizations that particular vendor is serving. So the data breach is very, very risky, is very, very vulnerable, that our data residing in the vendor side is secure or not. So the companies, they have to take the data breach is very important.
Ahmad, my question to you is, because at COVID-19 situation, which has created more innovation and technology transcends. However, the major shift to remote working practice has been increased. So how do you ensure secure work from home arrangement, and what are the best practices? can you quickly describe in, obviously cannot explain, but in a 1 minute or 2 minutes, major factors or critical factors?
Yeah, so what we have done in particularly the banking industries, because the work from home culture is not as such in banking industry as compared to the different multinational company or other one. So we divided this one into 5 different domains and we took a specific action in this form. For example, we developed some culture and awareness messages. So this is the one area in which we put all the work from home and security perspective in this one. Then we formed a separate team for the incident management and business. It was there, but we especially for the pandemic situation and the business continuity. So this is the one of the major factor or the domain in which we form another team to specifically look into the work from home activities. The other part is the governance area, which is at the top. So we are taking care of every aspect of this one. So the next fourth one is the security, the data security and information security, I would say, because as I told you that the working from home style is not in the banking sector. So we have to provide different laptops or mobile devices to the end user so that they can work from home. So that is why the security, which is lying on the laptops or the mobile devices, the need for that one has went at very high level. So we have to encrypt those devices as well. So other one, the last one, I would say the area in which we focus on the using the emerging technologies in this pandemic situation. So even different vendors were offering different solutions during the pandemic for the 90 days evaluation or etc. But we opted the trusted one and we tried to use those trusted services for this pandemic situation. Particularly, one of the important factor is the multi-factor authentication or 2FA authentication, in which we ensure that every authorized user is being connected. Other one, that one, we have a special awareness message because the awareness or the client awareness or the employee awareness is our top priority. So we keep sending those awareness messages about the phishing, about the secure home usage. So we also perform the same phishing simulation within our bank so that people understand how the phish email look like. So this is very important. So we also educated our persons to keep all the data backed up. So whenever you are moving or you are mobile, keep the data backed up. So don't use your on malicious website whenever you are working, because at the time of they are working at home, they are not connected with the banking network. So that is also very important. We also ask that the employer don't use public, for example, public or the freely available internet. We also provided some dongles or the secure devices to the employee so that they can directly connect with their home from the home to the bank network. Then from the bank network, the filter network will be provided. So these are the basic hygienes, actually, I would say. So these are not new terms. So we follow the basic cyber hygienes and we use those hygienes and provided the best available services to our employee, our staff, so that they can continue the working. So this
excellent insights. Excellent
yeah.
insights.
So I think the same was done by the State Bank as well. The State Bank also give the instructions to the bank to provide the services. The secure actually the facility to the staff so that they can work from the home. Yeah.
That's great. So, Dr. Saab, my question to you, and you just know that we just know that Pakistan government has promulgated current draft of Data Protection Act, which will support. Do you know it will support ensuring the information regarding the Pakistani organization or the normal or the common man, and it is appropriately protected or not?
Okay. So it is a start in the right direction, but still there is a lot that needs to be done to make the draft right. I've studied the draft, and I think some serious stakeholder consultative sessions need to be done, because you see all of these data protection laws and data privacy laws, they are derived from the fair information principles, which were introduced initially in 1973 in the US by the Department of Health, Education and Welfare. Even GDPR is an example which has most of the principles taken from the fair information principles. So I'll just briefly go through a few principles on which apparently it seems that not a lot of deliberation has been done when drafting this bill. So the first principle is that we need to understand where the drive is coming from regarding making data privacy a priority. I don't think it's coming from the market. I'll give you an example. Recently, a couple of months ago, there was a data breach reported of about 115 million records from some of our telcos. I'm not going to name the telcos, but that is a serious breach. And a lot of people, they did not even show concern who are related to this particular industry. Very few people raised voices regarding how serious this breach could be, because when I looked at the records that were leaked, all of that information, you can simply categorize it as personal information. Even the ID card numbers were leaked. So the drive is mainly coming from the government. This is the first thing that we need to keep in mind. Another principle is that how does the law incentivize the covered entities to adopt information privacy and security practices in response to this bill when it becomes a law? So, for example, in the US, there are laws that reduce the liability on a covered entity if it suffers a breach but has good information privacy management programs in place, along with an information security program. I don't see such incentives in this draft. There are also safe harbor rules in place, which gives you additional protection. For example, if you have made sure that the data is encrypted, so even if there is a data breach, but the data is properly encrypted, you don't have to suffer the penalties. So these kind of incentives, they need to be placed there in this bill. Another important thing is...
excuse me, Shaji, I need your help. Actually, I know as we started little late, so next panel is also expecting us. So let's just wrap it up if you are okay with it.
Yeah, please give us 3 minutes at least, because to close or to conclude, because people are like watching us. Yeah,
sure.
3 to 4 minutes.
Okay.
Ali bhai, please complete in 1 minute. Then I will go for Faisal bhai, and then I will concluding remarks.
Okay, I won't take more than a minute. Okay, so our data protection bill is an example of a comprehensive framework which is similar to GDPR. So in the Europe, they have GDPR, which is an example of a comprehensive framework. And in the US, they have a sectoral framework. So for example, they don't have a law which covers all the sectors of the economy, but they have, for example, HIPAA, which is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. They have COPA, which is the Children Online Privacy Act, and they have the GLBA for the financial sector. So there are both of these approaches, the comprehensive approach and the sectoral approach. They have their own pros and cons. But I think we need to deliberate on this issue, whether which particular model is going to be better for us in our circumstances. There is also, I didn't see any flexibility in the draft bill to encourage self-regulation or co-regulation. And it remains to be seen how effective the Data Protection Authority, which is mentioned in the bill, that is going to be regarding enforcement of privacy laws, and how businesses are going to adopt the privacy protection programs and ensure compliance with the new law. That can be a problem because in case of GDPR, we have seen that businesses, because of non-compliance, they have they had to suffer heavy penalties. And one other thing, it's a minor issue. I'll just wrap it up. The minor issue is that I didn't see anywhere in the draft bill that what is the minimum number of records that need to be leaked in order to report a breach, because in many laws a minimum number is given. In some laws it's 500, in some laws it's 1,000, in some it is 20,000. But in our law there is no such minimum number mentioned. It needs to be there because even if there is one breach, then they have to, one record is leaked, they have to report the breach. So it's not going to be very convenient.
That's great.
So these are
okay. So my last question to Faisal bhai, and obviously he is working outside Pakistan and he has a global view. So Faisal bhai, at this post-COVID situation, what kind of operating model are you expecting regarding the COVID-19? And has this current scenario changed the strategic direction of digital governance?
Very, very good question. Thank you. We have been already preparing for that. So the discussions have been started already. Senior management is totally fully understand life is going to change. The working ethics is going to change. The environment will be changed. And how we're going to address upcoming all these things in coming years. So they're planning like, let's say this COVID solution, the pandemic continues for another 2 years. How are we going to survive? So we recently, just to let you know, means we have finished our weaknesses, means where we have found ourselves, where we are weak. No one has thought like everyone in the company, 10,000 employees start working remotely. So a lot of network challenges, a lot of network security issues. So just quickly, let me catch up. You say like 11 breaches happen. They have been successful. Don't say like the people have been attacking every time. The people have been attacking on our networks, on our applications, around the clock. So I will say 11 of them have made them. They have made them due to some weaknesses in either our network or infrastructure or applications. People are really not coming from the networks and infrastructure. They have learned that we have so many appliances, we have so many devices available to protect that. You can put a lot of locks on the gates. They have found the way now how to come through the application and get to your systems and take what they want. So answer to your question, yes, in US, clearly it's going to be changed. More security requirement, digital transformation will be also accelerated, but whatever the initiative we have taken already, they will continue as it is now. Ahmad has already mentioned, we are making sure that how we can put an extra layer of protection. It's extra layer of protection because everyone is working at home. We are trying to set up all the VDAs. We're not relying on just a public internet connectivity. We're saying everyone is going to have a virtual desktop, or they're going to use Horizon clients, VPN tunnels. Means we just don't want that the local machine will interact with any of our systems. Fauzia has mentioned very clearly, we are instituting and enforcing that the full-blown vendor assessment needs to be performed, and we need to get complete authorization and authorization so we can do their penetration testing. Dr. Saab has mentioned about data protection. Yeah, data protection. The problem is still there. Means unless we will not measure it, we will not develop a framework that how we're going to gauge it and where these standards are not going to work. So yes.
Great. Yeah. I think obviously, Ghulam Mustafa bhai, we have the reservoir of knowledge here, and we can talk more than 10 hours in the same topic, but unfortunately we have to close it. So conclusion is my key takeaways for securing like long-term digital governance success is, number one is clear and agile data governance strategy, and a passionate and committed leadership globally as well as in Pakistan, who can take ownership and innovative and flexible culture. Okay. And last but not the least, cyber criminal love the crisis and be prepared to secure your digital infrastructure in the face of this new level of threat. So my last remarks on behalf of all my panelists are hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Syed and all the team on this panel. Just with regards to the questions, we have some, but we don't have time to answer them. So may I appreciate if you can put your LinkedIn address on the chat button. So in case anyone wants to revert back with questions, they can get in touch. Thank you so much for being here today, and for all the gentlemen and the lady. Thank you so much and have a great day. Ghulam, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Shaji, Syed Abdul, Qadir Saab, and all the panel members. It was a wonderful discussion. Just let me add only one thing, that today morning, as a keynote speak and opening speak, we discussed about the legal aspects of digital transformation. And that was a very wonderful discussion by a lawyer. He recently moved from England to Pakistan, and he's trying to, cover the different parts of data protection and all these things. And maybe that data protection policy we can discuss with him, and then we can see how we can facilitate organizations in securing their data. It's really very important, and we need to have laws for this, and we need to have legal system in place for this. So with this, thank you very much. So